is to, our mission is to support and maintain the standard of government in the city of Compton, which is dedicated to the best interests of the citizens by following the laws and principles of the Compton City Charter. Local, state, and federal laws are applicable. We encourage and support leadership who will serve the citizens of Compton with unselfishness, honesty, and integrity. That's what the Concerned Citizens is all about. Before we start, we'd like to always start with prayer. And I'm going to ask our member, Larry Edmonds, would you please start our meeting off with prayer?
Sure. I thought we was going to give that honor to Mr. Clay. But
I'll be glad. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Go right ahead.
Oh, amen. Let us pray, Father, in Jesus' precious name as we come to give you name first order on our agenda and to hallow thy name. Ask that you would just be with us as we conduct the business affairs of our city. Bless the leadership and the fathership. For we all praise you in Jesus and the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, now like always, during the meeting, we afford our guests the utmost respect. This is not a debate. This is just an informative session where you get a chance in an informal setting to ask the candidate or some candidates questions that you have concerns about. Those candidates will have a minute to respond to you, and we will move around to where everybody will get a chance to ask a question. Hopefully you have a pencil, a piece of paper, you can write your question down so you won't forget when it gets to you. If you don't, we have material here. It's called the Leadership Trait Questionnaire that will help you in terms of trying to figure out what kind of question you want to ask. And also, you can write on the back questions of your concern that you can ask later on. So it's a three-phase system. First, everybody will get a chance to ask a question. The candidates will answer those questions. Then the candidates will get 3 minutes to explain their platform. And then after that 3 minutes, then if you have any other burning questions, then you will be afforded some additional time to ask those questions. Okay, and then at the end, we're going to have announcements. This session is going to be taped. And this is what you call a leadership questionnaire form. And as I said before, it has 10 questions that you can ask, 10 areas that you can measure in terms of leadership ability, and also a scale that you can measure their responses to, so that when it comes time for you to vote, you'll have some idea of how you feel about those candidates and how they respond to your concerns. This kind of takes the how I feel about a person as opposed to who's the best leader for that position. On the back of this form is a leadership trait form as well, where on this category, you will put your hierarchy, you will put what your concerns are, whether it's health and safety, whether it's trees, potholes, whatever your concerns are. And across the top, you will list the names of the candidates, and then you will also be able to measure the candidate's response by pluses or minuses. And at the end of the session, or when you get home this evening, you can algebraically add up the pluses and minuses, and then that will just tell you simply, in mathematical terms, who responded the most positive this evening, so that when you go to the polls, once again, you can make a reasonable judgment about who you will vote for. So this is just an aid for this evening. You don't have to do it, but it will help you out a great deal. Okay, so this evening, I'm going to introduce the candidates. This evening.
Before you do that,
Yes.
can't you open those doors and get some more chairs so you can put it out?
I think we get all the chairs out.
All the chairs have been in the middle.
We have some chairs here, but all the other chairs have been in.
You don't have it in the closet?
No, that's, we took all of those out. Okay, so you don't have have a seat. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seats left. Okay, I'm going to introduce the candidates. Okay, first, for mayor, we have Asia Brown. Would you raise your hand? And, Asia Brown, mayor. Second, we have Lynn Rogers Boone. Lynn. Third, we have Jasper Jackson.
Good evening, everybody.
And fourth, we have Satcher Sarita. And once again, let me say what they're running for. Jasper Jackson is running for treasurer. Lynn Boone and Asia Brown is running for mayor. And Satcher Sarita is running for city clerk. Okay, we're going to start. Are we ready? All right. Let's start on this side here. Barbara, you like-
Mr. Lewis, can you
Yes.
go over the time frame? There's some time frames, right?
Yeah, we did the time frame.
Okay. You did, okay.
And Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
I thought I saw Alita over there.
She is right there.
Oh, you didn't call her.
Well, she's not a candidate.
Yes, you did.
She's not a candidate for this evening's panel.
Oh,
We have, yes,
Do you have a list of all the candidates running for the different positions?
yes, we do have a list, but I don't think we have that list available right now. Do? All the material was given out last time. Sorry about that. We'll have some additional materials next time. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, there seems to be some confusion. Let me explain what happened. We sent a letter to all of the candidates with some dates that we're going to meet from now until April the 6th. And we asked them to choose a date when they wanted to participate on the panel. We only have room for the 2 hours that we're here for a maximum of 4. So we have a full schedule from now until April the 6th. For example, Alita is running for a city clerk as well, but she's not scheduled till a later date. She's here, but she's not scheduled till a later date. So you're not going to see all the candidates. This is not your traditional candidate forum. Although there will be a traditional candidates forum in City Hall, March the 16th. And also, what's that other date?
16th, 23rd, and 30th.
16th,
There's the
23rd,
flyers,
30th.
so everybody can have a
And there's
flyer.
flyers here. But this is the concerned citizens' efforts to make it a little informal to where you can ask questions directly without filling out a card, pass it, and wait in the moment that you get your questions answered. In an intimate setting where you really get to know your audience. Now, are we clear, ladies and gentlemen? Is there any other questions or concerns? Okay. So we're going to start. Barbara.
What is the projected budget amount and what would you do to balance it?
And who are you asking that question? You have 1 minute to answer. You're going to have 3 minutes when you do your presentation. But right now, 1 minute to answer whatever question is asked.
ask them to call their name, brother.
Board member Satchel Zarita.
The projected budget is 47 million. How would I, as an administrator in the clerk's office, I wouldn't be able to inflict any change on the budget. The policymakers and the city manager, and the policymakers being the council people and the mayor, the clerk's position is an administrative position. However, in my department, I would ensure that I didn't hire any contractors, nor would I hire anyone who was not a full-time employee of the city of Compton.
Okay. Follow-up question? No? Okay. The next question?
Okay.
Anyone with any questions as we go down?
How do you recognize them? By the raise of hand?
Yes.
Raise your
We're going
hand.
down the table, we're giving everybody an opportunity
You know,
to ask a
we
question.
get those flyers, you know, those flyers. The ones that we talk about the questions, right there.
It does have questions, it just has help from hands for questions. Okay. So everybody passed on this table. Anybody have questions in the back? Yes, Mr. Overton.
I agree. Potholes, the deficit, and the overall cleanliness of the city. What you gonna do about that? That goes to all of the candidates. Potholes, this $43 million deficit, and the cleanliness of the city.
Okay, let's start with Asia Brown.
Good evening, concerned citizens of Compton. My name is Asia Brown. It's an honor to be before you all this evening. Like you, I am a concerned citizen of Compton, which is why I'm running for mayor. And my desire is to lead the city into a new direction, to better utilize resources, to attract new resources, and to be able to rid the city of nepotism, corruption, mismanagement, and the legacy of all of the negative things that have been going on in Compton for generations and generations. The three main issues that Mr. Holyfield mentioned, which are potholes, the deficit, and the cleanliness, those three issues are an indication of the poor leadership and the generation and the whole legacy of our current administration. In 2008, the city of Compton did not have a deficit. There was a surplus. And it is time for us to elect new leadership that is responsible, that is transparent, and that is honest with the residents of the city of Compton, because like you, when I attended the council meetings, I was told by my policymakers that the city of Compton was doing great. That when everybody else was laying off, that we were hiring new people. When everybody else was getting ready to shoulder the storm as responsible policy administrators, we were having parties, spending money, and neglecting the repair of our infrastructure. Okay.
And I would like to ask the next person to ask a question. Could you introduce yourself and tell us what district you're from? Okay, next question.
That was everyone.
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everybody. That's a good question. Potholes are very serious in the city of Compton. And the only way we're going to get that done is we got to find some money. We got to bring in revenue in here. We got to stop wasting money that we're spending but that we don't have. And also, 43 million deficit. We must get a budgeting team that can pass the budget. There's nobody counting. I think that's what our problem is. We got to basically have somebody that on the budget team that we could sit around and you got nervous up in here. Sorry about that. I don't know why. And also, I'm gonna come back to that. And also cleaning up the city. In order for us to clean up the city, we all got to work together. And as being a block club commission, we got a lot of block clubs that are out there already trying to keep the city clean. But we got to get some money, we got to get some finance, and we got to pass a budget. And we got to stop spending waste money.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Lynn Rogers. I want to say on the budget reform, that's one of my platforms. And I want to say our budget in the city of Compton has never been balanced. If anyone knows anything about a budget, it's really made up of estimates. But in the past several years for the city of Compton, ours has been just guesstimate, not even estimate. They've been passing supposedly a balanced budget, but it is never balanced. My issue in regards to a deficit, I don't believe we have a deficit. If the city was in deficit, $48 million, we would not be operating. We would definitely be on bankruptcy, because that means we would not be able to pay our bills. Right now, if we have any type of deficit, it's internal, not external. And that means we have borrowed from inside. We have borrowed from accounts, and departments within inside of the city, but we are still generating revenue. In 2007 and 2009, the city took a major hit as far as our computer system. And each time, we really wasn't restored to
Time.
its full. Sorry.
Ms. Rita.
Good evening, I'm Ms. Rita. Technological advancements will bring more revenue into the city, and with more revenue, then we have more money to help our infrastructure. An example of increasing revenue, in my effort to bring technology to the school district, we went online with attendance. And within 1 year, we were nationally recognized for our gains in attendance, which equated to $1.2 million in additional revenue to the city, to the district. So technologically, if we advance, then we make things more convenient for citizens. They're more willing to pay their bills, their water bills. They'll be able to come in or go online and pay those bills, as well as in the business department. If you could get your permits online, or if you could pay your fees online, you're more apt to do that than us chasing you down and having you come in. So I think our systems need to be upgraded so technologically we can generate more revenue and work with our legislators.
Okay, any other questions? Sorry, Ms. Colleen Davis.
Hi, my name is Colleen Davis, in the 4th District. My question is directed to Ms. Rita. As, just to make a statement, personally, I have a problem with members of the same family holding elected office in the same entity. In light of that, how would you, if you're elected city clerk and Councilwoman Jana Zarita's term is up and she's running for re-election, that would be your responsibility to handle that election. And if you choose to turn it over to the county and recuse yourself, wouldn't we have to pay them to run that election? So that's a two-part question.
I'll answer the second one first. I don't know why I would have to recuse myself. The current city clerk is in an election now as my opponent, and she hasn't recused herself. That's number one. As it relates to family members, this is a democracy. Number one, she's a policymaker. The clerk's position is an administrative position. I wouldn't have a vote. However, if I did, what about the Kennedy brothers and the benefits that they brought to the citizens of the United States? You have the Sanchez sisters, who have both been legislators and made policy that benefited the citizens of the state of California. So my being related to someone has nothing to do with my commitment to serve the citizens of the city of Compton. And my integrity and my family legacy is what keeps me driven to do the right thing.
Follow-up question?
I respect it and I accept your reply, except that I find a problem with trying to say that our political local context of Compton is on the equivalent of a national level at the Kennedy. But thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Okay,
right.
Councilman Davis.
You're right. This question is to all candidates. What strengths do you possess that would enable you to be efficient and effective in the elected office for which you are seeking?
And you're asking that of all of the candidates? Okay, can we start with this?
I have 10 years of experience in community development. I've worked in urban communities throughout the South Bay. I hold 2 degrees in public policy, planning, and development from the University of Southern California. My emphasis is in economic development, which is job creation, wealth creation, and small business growth. I have worked in the city of Compton. I understand how the city of Compton works. I understand its needs. I understand the different opportunities that we've missed out on. I understand intrinsically why we have missed out on those resources because of the lack of infrastructure. We don't have a general plan that's up to date. We do not have a zoning ordinance that's up to date. We do not have a strategic plan. We do not have a capital improvement plan, which is why the streets and the roadways are not improved. When you have a capital improvement plan, you have your programs and your projects built out based by seniority and need. So you grade all of your streets from A to F, and depending on the ones that are the worst, you funnel all of your resources to mitigate that issue. So I understand why cities work the way that they do. I have been trained to work with cities. I have been a practitioner. I'm not just a policymaker. So I understand how to assist the city of Compton. Thank you.
You know, that's important to me because no one knows the city better than the citizens do. And I have a passion for financial responsibility, strong audit skills, good cash flow management. And also, I'm the best paralegal in the city of Compton, so you need to know that. I've been a block club commissioner for the past 5 years, as the chairperson for 3 years. And I've been the ears and the eyes for the city of Compton. So when I go to different block club meetings, I know exactly what's going on in the city. And I take it to this council, also take it to the city manager, and she can get these issues and fix in the city of Compton.
Before we start and go to the next one, I'm going to ask us to refrain from clapping after each candidate because it's almost starting to sound like a game show. And, you know, some are getting more claps than others. We're not really trying to persuade or try to, you know, make it seem like we're doing something favorable or we are making any decisions right now. This is purely an informative session. Let's be fair. Let's be respectful. And I would thank you very much for that. Ms. Boone?
I'm qualified for this position because I have lived in this community. I've been in this community all my life. I have participated in the city's business by being involved in the council meeting. I have witnessed the misuse of spending of monies here in the city. I have also been employed as a city employee here and worked in the Treasury Department to find out the finances of the city and the different accounts. I also moved to the CRA department and discovered that the developments that were supposed to be produced here in the city of Compton, that hasn't been. Money has been spent from that CRA department that we all know has folded now, but it's still in existence as far as a successor agency, being paid as a full developed department that is not producing anything to the city. I am qualified for this position. I have lost my job behind supporting the employees here. I'm supporting the citizens here. I speak up. I will fight for the citizens. I will be there, regardless if I get this position or not. There's not a person in here that doesn't know that I will be there for this city. Thank you.
My success as the clerk of the Compton Unified School District, coupled with my 20 years of administrative experience in municipal government, makes me qualified for this position. Having an inside knowledge of the inner workings of City Hall, I'm familiar with many departments and how they function. My knowledge of the budget and past practices in the city was instrumental in making citizens know that there was a $40 million deficit. My knowledge of CRA and other departments and how they function is a benefit, and it resulted in the district receiving $25 million. $1 million a year every January for the next 25 years, which was tax increment monies from CRA that the city had not paid the district for many years. So my knowledge of municipal government makes me a great candidate for this position, and I work with my local, state, and federal legislators who I have working relationships with, as well as personal relationships, to bring whatever funding and thank you.
You can finish your sentence.
Whatever funding and whatever other grant support I can get to the city of Compton.
Thank you. I'm Betty Goyard-Griggs, and I live in the 3rd District. I have a question, and it's a little different, but it's certainly near and dear to my heart, and because all of you are residents of the city, perhaps all of you would like to take a stab at it. I understand the financial situation that we're in, but I I'm just wondering, where would you come along, the need to generate revenue versus the types of businesses we have allowed in the city? I have a real concern that this being a minority city, the large number of payday loan businesses and tobacco stores in this city, it's gotten to the point where there's such a mushroom of these type businesses. By all means, throughout the country, it will show that these businesses are very devastating to the minority residents that cities allow these type businesses into. I am wondering if any of you, if elected, would consider a moratorium on tobacco stores and payday loan facilities in the city of Compton.
Let's start on the other side.
The key to is education. We have to educate our citizens as to the ills of tobacco use and drugs and liquor stores and all those payday loans, financial education. If we start young with our students and teach them financial responsibility, that's education. I remember when there was a tobacco moratorium here in the city of Compton, and I would support that. Businesses do prey on who they consider uneducated or minority communities. So I would work to first educate our citizens about the consequences of, especially the payday loan, because you can never catch up, and the interest is so high. So financial education would be one, but I would certainly promote and support a moratorium on those kind of businesses in the city of Compton. But education is key. We have to educate our citizens.
First, Ms. Griggs, I want to say, I don't understand the financial issue here in the city. Because you hear 40 million 1 minute, you hear 48 million deficit, you hear 47 million reserve. But I haven't seen any of this. Nothing has been written for me. My issue on the reform of the budget would be first to complete a forensic audit to find out, and then to address the employment here in the city. The reason why we have all these people coming in, because there's nobody out there to check. Very few of these businesses, the tobacco and the check services centers, are coming in without even building permits. They're just opening up. These smoke shops are opening up. I've checked, there's not even a building permit. But we don't have code enforcement, we don't have MLES out there checking because those people have been removed from the city. We have to bring those back in order to address revenue. We have to either address with our sheriff department that they're going to have to provide revenue services here. All they do is stop people on the street and harass them, pretty much. They do not provide any revenue service, which is checking for any violations to our codes. Thank you.
First of all, I don't smoke, so and the other thing is, payday loan is actually good for the citizens, because we are having hard times right now. And my job is running for treasurer. If it's going to bring in revenue, then I'm for that. I wouldn't vote on it because I don't have power to vote, but if it's going to bring revenue into the city, then that's what I'm all about.
The issue in regard to payday loans and tobacco is that is a pure function of the lack of our general plan. Our general plan is 30 years old. Our zoning ordinance is 30 years old. Therefore, it allows those types of businesses, which are classified as nuisances, to locate freely within our community. Payday loans is a form of predatory lending in urban communities. They take advantage of those people that are in need. When I was with the city of Compton, I wrote an emergency ordinance to stop payday loans from locating throughout the city of Compton. Now, we have for too long settled for elected officials. We need policymakers, because those policymakers, they did not approve that emergency ordinance. It never came back to the people, and now we have payday loans popping up throughout the city of Compton. We have tobacco shops now popping up throughout the city of Compton. Now I'm all for democracy, I'm all for capitalism and free trade, but we have to protect our public good, which is our people, our children, and our families. Thank you.
Next question. Anyone in the back row have a question? I do. Okay. There's no one after you. Okay, good.
Hi,
Hello there.
I'm Gloria Ramsey from the 3rd District, and my question is to Mrs. Brown and Mrs. Boone. As mayor, I understand a lot of times the mayor is not following the city charter. Would you take $600 per month salary, which the charter quotes for the elected mayor and council members? If yes, why? No, why? Mrs. Powell.
I believe it is imperative that we follow the city charter. If the city charter stipulates that the mayor and the council are to take $600 in pay, that is what we shall take. I believe that right now the mayor does take that amount of pay. I don't know what exactly the salary is. I do understand that there are various commissions that the city of Compton elected officials are a part of. So the total compensation is not packaged just in terms of the actual stipend. It is a combination of benefits, in-kind allowances, and also appointments to various commissions, not only within the city of Compton, but outside the city of Compton. So I am fully with following the law, and if the people of Compton so shall desire to change the charter, they're going to have to go through the process, and I support the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey, for your question. Yes, I full-heartedly want to say I would go for the $600 a month. And it is quoted in the charter. All these other additions have been added as time has gone on. It's not what the citizens want. It's not written in the charter. These different adjustments, you have the $650 car allowance, number one. You're a 10.5-mile city. Where do you need to go for $650? We have citizens here that are without work. And we're getting paid $650 in addition to the $600. This is not a job. This is a duty. I come before you to ask that I can serve you, not that you serve me. But over the course of time, what has happened, our politicians have looked upon us as us serving them. They don't respect us, and this charge is just utterly ridiculous. This is not a job, this is a duty, and this is what I want to take it as. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Kelly.
I want to ask this of all of you, just for your opinions, and let us know how you think. What do you do or suggest for early releases or the realignments who are already in Compton and who are coming to Compton? They have no jobs and no place to live.
Okay. Will you direct that to?
I would like to know the opinion of all.
You know, I hate to sound repeat, but education, training programs, and partnering with the local businesses. We have a great number of industry in Compton, and for those early releases who have not committed violent personal crimes, I would be willing to work with the businesses to try to develop a program where they would allow those nonviolent ex-offenders to be able to be employed. Because if you don't have something to come back to, if you don't want people to work, then they have no other thing to resort to. Oftentimes they resort back to the crimes that they committed initially. So I believe in reform, I believe in education, I believe in training, and I believe in working with the businesses to persuade them to allow our young, most of them are young, African American and Latino men, and in order for them to move forward and develop their families, they need the opportunity to work. So I would be willing to work with the businesses in the community.
Thank you. That is a perfect question. I just want to say, citizens, if you can remember, you saw so many homes in Compton that were up for sale and they were foreclosure. Now, you see those homes that are being occupied. Those are being occupied that are people that have been released. And it's sad to say there's nothing there. They're just paying for these rooms that they're staying here, and the state is paying that money. There's grant money available to not only train these people, but to provide work here in this city. Our streets shouldn't look like that. Our trees shouldn't look like they should. We have to bring ownership back, and these people that are here, that have come on early release, there is employment for them. There is funding for them. We are in line perfectly for that. But what it has also generated, if you notice in the different areas, the parking. Parking is becoming where you can't park in front of your home anymore, and you're wondering why. You know, it's starting to put different races against each other because they're saying, oh, there's so many people in that home. What it is, that's people that are being released early. They're being housed in homes. As a matter of fact, I know one personally where the home is divided, the living room is divided into 4 rooms for different individuals. Thank you.
That's a good question. I like what Mr. Rita said, and me being in law for the last 25 years, you have to ask yourself, you know, those people that get out of jail, they're your kids and our family members. So we have to give them a second chance. We cannot just throw our hands up on them. In order for it to work, we give them a second chance, help them get a job, because we should have a program in Compton for second chance people. Our church has second chance. We help people out with expungements and all that. They want to try to do their life all over again. So if we bring that in here, we bring all the churches together and the citizens together. Believe me, everybody that go to jail don't do anything bad. You just get caught up in some things in jail. So that's something we have to remember. Thank you.
Early reentry is a statewide problem, it is a county problem, and it is also a city problem. In order to address this issue, we need to coordinate with our regional leaders in order to address the need. Compton has a high proportion of inmates that are being released in our geographic area in comparison to other cities. There are funding that is available regionally, and just because of poor relationships with our leaders and the regional leaders, we have missed out on that. Now, there are local nonprofits in the city of Compton, Project Restoration, which is held and operated by Faith Inspirational. They do a reentry program, and it's very successful. They've been doing this for 3 years. I say they've been doing this for 3 years because 3 years ago, we were issued a state of emergency in the city of Compton. And as elected officials and policymakers, it is our job to prepare for the different so that we can weather the storms that we know are coming. It is not a surprise that all of these parolees are in the city of Compton. So what we need are job development programs, which are a function of policy. All of us know how much money the city of Compton has invested in various development projects, but how many of those people were employed by residents? Very few.
Mary Godoy, 3rd District, and my question is for Mrs. Brown. Please define new resources that is your vision to bring into the city if elected, and how will you secure these new resources? And I would limit it to 3 that are unique to your vision. If there are shortfalls in incoming funding through state and federal sources.
Okay, that's a loaded question. You only have 1 minute to answer that, or?
It's 3, excuse me, Ms. Brown, it's 3, and it would be your personal vision as to why you want to be elected. And you have mentioned you would bring in new resources. I want you to define the resources and how would you secure them if there is a shortfall in funding, without going into technical details.
Okay, I'll try. New resources are, in my mind, divided into programs, policies, and opportunities. Now, in terms of programs, the city of Compton, we all know that in the city of Compton, we qualify for almost everything. But my vision is to be able to provide a firm foundation by bringing in the necessary ingredients that we need for success. Now, we all would like, nourishment, we all would like these great things to come into the city of Compton, but if we don't have an up-to-date general plan, then we're out of compliance with the state of California. So that means the grant funds that we do have, we have to give them back. And that's what's been going on in the city of Compton because our general plan is outdated, our zoning ordinance is outdated. We have to give it back tens of millions of dollars back to the state and the federal government. So my vision is to be able to bring the basic necessities back into the city of Compton, get it back to basics. We need an up-to-date general plan, we need a zoning ordinance, we need a strategic plan, we need a capital improvement plan. All of those things are the bare minimum that a city requires to operate and to be healthy and sustainable. Once you have those things, you can actually procure funding such as grants, in-kind resources, tax abatements, tax credits, all of the things that cities utilize in order to leverage services. Cities are hurting everywhere, not just in the city of Compton, but until we get our act together, investments not coming into the city of Compton, we will not be able to sustain the investment that we have in the city of Compton. So we generally have some work to do, seriously. Thank you.
Bruce?
Bruce Boyd from the Illustrious District 4. My question is actually to all candidates. My question is somewhat generic in that I'd like to know whether you have held in the past or currently hold an elected position in this city or any other city as an elected or an appointed official.
Okay, we can start with Sasha.
I'm Sasha Zarita. I'm currently the clerk of the Compton Unified School District Governing Board of Trustees. I'm also the chairperson for the Instructional Excellence and Community Development and Engagement Committee.
Thank you for your question. No, I have not held a position. I did run for the mayor in 2009. I was unsuccessful, but I want to tell you, it was worth it because what I have learned from 2009 to now sets me ready to run for this position. In 2010, I ran for city council person, and to be honest with you, I really didn't put my heart into it because my heart was really not there. But I did run for that position, and being a city council person, I just want to say that is a hard, hard job. But I know, and I feel in my heart, and I know that each one of you who knows me knows that I'm ready and willing to serve as mayor of the city of Compton. Thank you.
I never have held a position, but I am the commissioner for the block club in the city of Compton for the past 5 years, and I'm holding the chair spot seat for the past 3 years. That's the only position I have. And I'm also, right now, I'm running for city treasurer, and I'm hoping that I'll be your next city treasurer. Thank you.
Yes, I have been appointed to a position. I was a planning commissioner, and I was also an elected official, an appointed official for the Board of Zoning Appeals. Thank you.
Which city?
For the city of Pasadena.
Diana?
Diana Sanchez, 3rd District. I'm also a candidate for the council seat for the 3rd District. This question is for Jasper Jackson for the treasurer's position. How would you keep the residents informed of our fiscal condition?
Well, first of all, I would have a daily report and also have a monthly report that I would bring to the council meeting every Tuesday. I will be there and let everybody know what's going on, what we have spent, what we have revenue that we have brought into the city. So those are things that I would provide. Thank you.
Sir?
Yes, my name is Terry Marshall, 1st District. My question is for each candidate. I just would like to know your educational background and your platform.
Mr. Marshall, my name is Asia Brown. I attended the University of Southern California. I hold a Bachelor of Science in Public Policy, Urban Planning, and Development. I also hold a master's degree in city planning with an emphasis in economic development. My platform is to bring a new vision to the city of Compton, and I have integrity, I'm honest, I tell the people exactly how it is. When people ask me, can I bring down the water bills, I tell them no. When people ask me, how do we generate revenue, I tell them the truth. My thing is, if we don't, the cost of doing the same is much too great. If we don't, this is the time in order to bring some new leadership into the city of Compton. If we don't act now, who knows if we will even have the city of Compton? We may be the county of Los Angeles. Thank you.
I have an AA degree in early study. I also have a BS in sociology. First thing I would do is follow the city's charter. I would manage all cash flow made that's been invested for the city. I would make sure that our bills and debts are paid online. I'll be at all council meetings on Tuesday to inform everybody what like I said before, about the finance that dealing with through the city. I will make sure at the end of the day that our budget daily will also balance with the controller's money also daily. And if it doesn't, I wouldn't leave it until it's done, all right? I will make sure that the office is well organized with an annual operations budget so that our bills will be paid on time, so we won't have to be paying fines that we're paying today. I will provide like I said, that I was all attending council meeting and give a financial report, like I said. I will create a collection department for the city, for our city, because we have money that's laying around, that's debt that needs to be collected on, and I'm sure that we can go back years and years and years to collect those debt. With me having over 25 years experience of collection, I know that we can get that done, and that's going to help improve capital for our city. Thank you.
I have an AA degree that I received from Compton College, a BA from National University, and a master's degree, that I received from, I can't even think of the name of the school right now. But anyway, the citizens here, you in Compton, you paid for my degree as in my master's degree. My budget, my platform consists of 4 things. One is a budget reform, where I would like to ensure that we have a forensic audit so everyone will know what is going on here in the city. My next one is public safety. I'd like to address the sheriff department. They need to start generating revenue here, or either start charging us less. My next thing would be rebuilding the infrastructure here in the city, which will create jobs as we go into receiving grant money and will employ our citizens here in the city of Compton. And my last is public awareness, which seems to be the most important. Knowledge is power, and citizens right now, we are powerless. We are having an election here. There's nothing outside here that addresses an election. We have no newspaper here. We have no newspaper here in the city, and I will promote that. Plus, satellites within the parks that citizens could go to find out what is going on in this city. Thank you.
I've completed undergraduate studies at UC Irvine, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and Loyola Marymount. My management experience consists of 20 years of administrative experience in municipal government with the City of Compton. I'm currently in the Building and Safety Department. I work in the Public Works Department, the City Manager's Office, the City Council's Office, the General Services Department, and I manage the Ramada Hotel and Convention Center that many of you know me from, where you had your retirement dinners, family reunions, Baptist conventions. So, and I'm fully prepared to attend any week-long seminar to be certified as a city clerk.
Landeros.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Louis Landeros, Community United for Compton. My question is, it doesn't really pertain to the actual city itself, but in a sense, it would pertain to it, and it is important. Being a voters' right organization, as you can see, we've had deficiencies in the past where things have been brought up into lawsuits. Now, that's for failing to practice federal laws. But my main question is, as I'm concerned, there's 2 nonprofits in the city of Compton that actually advocate for voting rights. How would the city itself advocate to these nonprofit organizations so that we can establish education for voters? As we can see, we always get a low turnout in voter elections. Now, again, it doesn't pertain to the city, but what can the actual dais adopt to actually help these nonprofits to actually establish something in this community of Compton? Thank you.
When it says dais, you mean everybody. Landeros.
Excuse me?
You mean everybody, right?
Correct, I'm sorry. Yes.
Let's turn on the other side. Yes. Yes.
Well, I support increased voter participation in the city of Compton. Voter apathy is extremely high here in Compton, and as as a policymaker on the Compton Unified School District, we have allowed voter registration organizations, and maybe one of your organizations. I know that this gentleman here talked about going into the schools and enrolling our students. As soon as the Los Angeles elections are over, I'm asking that our senator come into the schools and talk about the Early Voter Registration Act. And that act is so children or young people at 17 can register to vote. And then when they turn 18, they receive a postcard in the mail that reminds them that they're eligible to vote. And then they receive sample ballots and that kind of information. So everything is about education. You know, if you don't put the information out there for people to have it, they don't always necessarily seek it. So I believe that we should educate our community members.
Mr. Londeros, this is one of my main issues under public awareness. The citizens are not aware of the many nonprofits that we have here. And one way that we would be able to make them aware is by a newspaper. Everybody doesn't have cable, so they're not familiar with the actual council meetings being shown. The other thing that I had stated before was that I want to address satellites in each one of the parks. Not each one, but each park for each district, where citizens can actually go and they can meet with city employees and find out what's going on in the city. Eventually, as time goes on, I want it to be where you can address your water bills there, where you can actually watch council meetings. There'll be a television there. You can actually interact with your council person, because right now, City Hall, the parking is terrible. And a lot of citizens avoid meetings and avoid information because they cannot park there. If it's made available at our parks, and our parks are open from Monday through Saturday, that means it's wide open for all citizens to know what's going on. And the other issues that I found is that a lot of youth here say that they have no knowledge as to what's going on. So we have to address public awareness. Thank you.
I agree with what Nicole said and also what Ms. Thatcher said. I think the most important thing is that it's got to be in the schools. It should be a class that you'd be able to take and learn about the history of voting and what we went through about voting.
The major issue with voter turnout is that our young people are not engaged in government. All of you guys are here because you are concerned and you are connected and you are voters. In order to increase our votership, we need to target young people 35 and under and access them with the different media outlets that they utilize. Young people, they use social media. The city of Compton, I would recommend to the city manager to incorporate a public information officer. A public information officer will be responsible solely for making sure that the information that is going on in City Hall is disseminated to the people of Compton. I would also make sure that the city of Compton has a Facebook page, a Twitter account. These are all things that progressive cities utilize to connect to their people. The third thing would be make sure we offer public service announcements. As a municipality, we get free radio airtime when we have public events. So we will be able to partner with our local nonprofits if they wanted to do a voter registration drive. We could utilize our resources and offer those free service to our neighborhood partners. The last thing would also be to do a citywide newsletter. Many of you already know that we don't have a newspaper circulating right now in the city of Compton. So if we had a citywide newsletter, we would be able to make sure that you all still receive your information. And lastly, I would like to incorporate civic engagement into the,
Okay, I must comment on, as our candidates are speaking, I'm hearing other voices around. Just kind of, I'm sure, scrambling the brains of the candidates as they're trying to think of what they're trying to say. If we can just kind of keep it low, refrain from talking during the presentations, that would be really respectful. And I appreciate your compliance with that. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving around. And what we're going to do is keep this momentum going, and then those who came in later, we're going to go around the room, okay? All right? Yes, sir. Anybody on this table?
I just, Sterling Bullock, 3rd District. I just want to quickly
ask all of you, do you know the charter? I know the Lynn. I got a neighbor next door that tells me the Lynn does. Okay. Asia, do you know?
Yes, I do, and I actually have a copy of it right here, and I can give it with me, thank you.
Exactly.
I'm familiar with the charter. I have a copy at home and at my desk at work, as well as the bylaws of the Compton Unified School District.
That's good.
Yes, I do.
That's all.
Lily Darden, District 4. If elected, what would you do different than the current incumbent? Everybody.
That's where you start first.
That's pretty good. I like that. If I was elected, first thing I would do is follow the charter. Okay. I would manage all cash flow, and I would do the best investment for the city. I would make sure that all our water bills and paid online as well as debt online. I also would, probably don't know this, but we have a city that we pay in Inglewood $30,000 a month. Inglewood for our citations. And I would just like to know why we don't have that here. So I would bring that, I would take that from Inglewood and bring that to Compton. Because $30,000 a month is $360,000 a year that we can bring some people back to work. Okay, so, and we don't even bill for $30,000 a month. So that's another thing that I would bring in here. Also, I will make sure that I'll be at the council meetings, like I said before, and I'll give a financial report. I would like to also meet every business owner in the city of Compton, along with the Chamber of Commerce, to make sure that all our bills are paid.
Thank you. First thing I want to say is that I would engage in with the community, and I would follow the charter. Our charter is written in the format of the Bible. Not that it's gospel, but it addresses everything that's happening now that happened when it was first written in the 1800s. As time has passed, our city officials do not follow the charter. Our charter provides transparency and accountability. We've gone away from this charter, and this is why we're in the situation that we are. We have city officials up there that don't even know that this is a chartered city, which is totally wrong. So my thing that I would do would be, I'm sorry, but I have to piggyback with Jasper, is exactly follow this charter, which is the citizens' words. This is how you want the city run, and you don't even realize it. This charter is your voice, not mine as if I would become a city official, but yours as to direct me how to run this city. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, in 30 days, you would see phenomenal change. I would put systems online, advanced technology in the clerk's office. For instance, as a candidate at the registered recorder's office, I can get precinct information, results online. That kind of information should be online for our citizens. Any other information that citizens would like to require from the clerk's office should be able to be requested online, and you should get it within a timely manner. I also, because of this community's voter apathy, I was raised where I went to the polls with my mother every time she voted. I take my niece and my daughter every time we vote. So that way they understand the struggles of our forefathers, and they understand the importance of having a voice in their community and in this nation. So I would not support all vote by mail elections. Thank you.
As mayor of the city of Compton, I would represent the people of Compton with dignity, respect, inclusion, foresight. I would ensure that we have a firm plan, not magic, but a plan that we can follow from year 1 to 10 years, so that we know which programs, what projects, what streets will be paved, what infrastructure development that we want to invest in as a community. I would not spend the taxpayers' money against the taxpayers' will. I would make certain that we invest in our youth. There has not been any youth development, any youth investment in the city of Compton in over 20 years. It is time for a change. If we don't invest in our children, we will have nothing in the future. And I love the seniors. I love the seniors. You guys know I come to visit you. I love my seniors. But we have spent almost $50 million in senior development, but what have we spent in our kids? But we wonder why our crime is high. We wonder why the streets are riddled with graffiti. We wonder why people are afraid to come out of their homes at night because we did nothing for our children to do. And they are bored, they are tired, they are disenfranchised, they are jaded, and they are depressed because there is nothing to do in the city of Compton. So I would make certain that we invest in our future so that we can have one. Thank you.
No, she had a question next.
Excuse me?
No, we're going right down the line here.
Oh.
Yes, go ahead.
I've been listening very attentively all night. Pretty sure everybody else has. And we've talked about a variety of things. And some of the things, one of my pet peeves is the so-called deficit. I've heard all kinds of issues about the deficit, how much it is, and some have even said that it's really not a deficit. You know, it's, $42 million, it's all on paper, and it can be written off. Really? This is the charter everyone has talked about. Only 2 individuals are mandated to follow the finances of the city. It is the controller and the city manager. We are $42 million supposedly in the red. Do you, the 4 of you, do you believe that those 2 individuals followed this charter? If they did, that means the city council, the mayor, is responsible for our deficit. If they did not follow this charter, who is responsible for our deficit? And what would you do about it if you were elected?
As it relates to the charter, administrative interference by elected officials is one of the violations in the charter. I have personally been subject to administrative interference by an elected official. So the charter is our so-called Bible for the city of Compton, but I know that there has been a gross violation of administrative interference in the city of Compton as it relates to the city manager's office, policy, and managing the city. So as a result of that, there is a deficit. I can't tell you exactly how much it is. I know it's somewhere up from $40 million. I have not been privy to the information because I'm not an official in the city of Compton, but that would be one of the first things that I would do. And I would encourage that the elected officials in the city do not violate the charter and interfere administratively with the management of the city.
First of all, I want to say, I do know the charter, and you're absolutely right. The city controller and the city manager are 2 finance officers. If you read in the charter, this is said that these 2 should never be one, because one is supposed to check on the other. If you think about it, Willie Norfleet was the city controller. He was also made the city manager. That broke the charter right there. You gave one person the total command over the finances of the city of Compton. And who did that? Our mayor and council, because they had to vote this man into this position. They didn't replace the city controller. What they did was make the city controller, Willie Norfleet's assistant, a new city controller. So it's still being run by the same person, which was totally wrong. What I would do, and I know you guys don't want to do it again, but we need to change city managers. We have a city manager there now that does not know the charter. This man is not even here. He leaves on Thursday, he comes back on Monday. We pay for more and we receive the less. It's time for us to pull up our pants and just say, hey, we deserve the best here in the city of Compton. Thank you.
Ms. Evans, that's a good question. I think it's got to be the council. First, to start off with the budgeting team. The budgeting team is don't add up right. That's how I put it. Just put it out there to be frank. Second, it goes to the council. The council bids on it, and it shouldn't pass. It shouldn't be that much, because you can always reduce and take things out that we don't need. That's when the waste come in. The third thing is that our city attorney allows these things to happen. So if our city attorney would tighten up on what he's supposed to do, then we can have this waste money that we spending shouldn't be spent. So that's why I leave it like that.
City's charter states that the city controller and the city manager are voted by a council majority, which is comprised of the city, by the mayor and the council. Now, the city manager, while he may sign off on the documents and while he may recommend which contracts come to the city council for approval, he is given the direct direction by the mayor and the council persons. So the city manager, he has two functions. The first function is to make sure that he conducts business as usual. Now, when the council people, as policymakers, recommend that the city engages in certain businesses, he is employed by the mayor and the council. So he has two different competing interests. The second thing is that the budget and the council and the mayor, they're not mutually exclusive. Now, as a city manager, in a perfect world, the city manager would dictate the affairs of the city as the chief executive officer of the city, which is what the charter stipulates. But we all know that is not true, and if it was true, we wouldn't have 6 to 7 city managers in the last 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So, now obviously, somebody's in control of the city managers, otherwise the first city manager probably would not have left. The city council and the mayor, they hire and fire the city manager at will. So I just want to conclude my thought, which is, therefore, the mayor and the council at that time that the deficit was created are responsible for the deficit. Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Ramirez, and I'm also a candidate for District 3. Aside from that, I'm a concerned mom. Now, Mrs. Brown, you hit a topic very close to my heart, which is there's nothing for our youth. Now, maybe if we concentrate on our youth, we wouldn't have to be worried about the early release programs, okay? What are you going to do to make sure that our kids have somewhere to go and something to learn after school, where they can turn it into a trade down the line in their life?
Now, the great thing, Mrs. Ramirez, I don't have to provide you a promise or what I'm going to, I can tell you what I do. I am a co-director of Faith Inspirational. My husband and I, we mentor kids every day. We have not been doing this as of this year. We've been doing this for several years in the city of Compton. We also have a community development corporation that focuses primarily on youth development. We provide a game plan workshop with maps out from kids when they are from the 9th grade to the 12th grade, depending on what they desire to do with their life. We make sure that they have a game plan to get there. We also work with student athletes. We call it a Plan B program, where kids always think, and my husband played professional athletes too, and he can attest that a lot of kids think they're going to go straight to the NBA, they think they're going to go straight to the NFL, but that's just not true. So we created a program called Plan B that makes sure that our student athletes focus on their academics and utilize that as a resource in order to maybe get a free education if that's an opportunity. The second thing is we do youth leadership training. We partner with the Salvation Army to utilize their resources, and we're just one small nonprofit. Everything we do is free. We brought in over $200,000 in resources into the city of Compton, and so I can tell you what I am doing and also the plans that I have in the future after this. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes. Name and district, please.
My name is Carolyn Stokes, District 4. I'm trying to decide who I would have. I think it's just the two candidates that are running. Now, I don't know the whole charter, but I know a lot about the charter, because I've been working with the city and in this community about 37 years. Now, in the charter, we have, and it has been given back over to the council and the mayor. I would like to know what your feelings are is in turning those things that they commissions that they set on back over to the community, because that's who did them before. They made the law, they met with the people, and I want that back. You know, they have this city has taken all our rights away. We have to come down there 5, 6 hours in advance to sign up to speak. Yep. That's not the way it's supposed to be. This is our city, not 5 people. It's our city, the taxpayers' city. So I'm not interested in a whole lot of rhetoric. I want to know, what are you going to do for us? Not what you're going to do for yourself. I want to know what you're going to do for us. Give us back our stuff. We need our money, everything. And that's what I want to know.
Mrs. Stokes, I share your sentiment. If anybody has had an opportunity to attend a council meeting in recent days, we will know that, the commissions fly by in a matter of a minute. If you blink, you may have missed 2 commissions. So I believe that it's going to take the whole entire community in order to move our community forward. I believe that not one person, not 5 people can change the community. We need people that are concentrated on certain areas, which are what those commissions were originally founded to do. So I look forward to bringing back a youth commission. I look forward to making sure that we have people actually filled and seated on those commissions so that we can move it forward. Now, I do propose that we do have an elected official as a governing body of that commission to make sure that we move the agenda forward, that we set as a body and make sure that you have somebody to provide you with resources and also to hold them accountable to their commission as a whole. So I've seen in communities where you may have one elected official on the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is a function of a planning commission. So that one person will be responsible for serving along with some appointed community members, and they will move the agenda forward. And those community members would also have responsibility to make sure that they bring the information back to their people. So it's going to take all of us to change Compton, not just a few. So I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Ms. Stokes, you're absolutely right. This is part of the history of the city of Compton. We had a commission, and it addresses it in the charter, a commission of the community, where you were the ones that actually addressed any changes to the charter. The charter was changed April the 21st, 2009, by our city attorney with Measure L, which was to change the language of the charter, but what it did was it changed the law of the charter. And that commission of people, the citizens here, that was disbanded. So the charter has been addressed and is being addressed by the mayor and the council, which is totally wrong. Because like I said, our charter is the voice of the people. This is the laws that we want to govern our mayor and council by, not the laws for them to put out how we should serve them. Thank you. Oh, and I'm sorry, I meant to say, what I would do is bring back Measure L and then resolution, not to have you go out and petition for it. I would like to bring back Measure L to put it on a ballot so you as citizens could vote Measure L down to bring our charter back to what it originally was as of April the 21st, 2009.
Mr. Chairman,
I'd just like to reiterate about the safety hazards about streets and what is the time frame that we're looking at to get our streets not patched but repaved. I'm Donald Smith, District 1.
Okay, so
I'd like to address the panel.
Okay, answer it the best way you can.
I am not a representative of the city of Compton. I would urge you to contact your city manager and the existing policymakers. I can tell you that as your mayor, I would ensure that we have a capital improvement plan which lays out every single street in the city. It gives it a grade. And based off of the worst streets, we would target those. Now, we all know that we probably have a whole bunch of F-grade streets in the city of Compton, so we would probably have to do a lottery system or something that makes sense financially for us to be able to address those potholes in a systematic way. The capital improvement plan would allow us to procure state funding, federal funding, because like you said, not only is it an infrastructure issue, but it's a safety hazard. We will be able to coordinate the different funds that we have, not only to facilitate public safety with our fire, because as you may know, some of our fire trucks have been compromised because of the potholes as well. So it is not only a safety hazard with the residents of Compton, but also on our infrastructure and our public goods and investments. So I will make sure that we have a capital improvement plan in place. It does not cost money to the city of Compton. It is something that we do internally to make sure that all of the monies that we have in our budget are tied to real projects, real programs that have real results. Thank you.
Wow, it's a touching question there. You being a block club commissioner, I hear this all the time about the payment. First of all, we got to find some revenue to repair the streets. And second, are we wasting a lot of money repairing the streets because we put cheap stuff down. Once you go down, it comes right back up. So what we got to do is that we got to talk to the city manager and let him know that when we put it down, we got to clean those holes and then put the tar down and roll it. Not with no truck, but that's what the problem is. So that's a big issue here. And once we find the revenue and then we get somebody that's a manager that know how to manage the city right, then we'll be fine.
In 2008, there was a resolution brought before the city council by Charles Evans, which addressed every street and every pipe. It was supposed to be completed by 2014. We had the funds for it. We had the money for it. On the resolution, it shows where the money was coming out of there. Unfortunately, it was coming out from our water department. But as you know now, if you look at your water bills have increased because our streets and our pipes need to be repaired and replaced. And guess what, citizens? It's falling back on you again. There's no given date out here as to when it's going to be done. There's no given dates as to when they're going to start. And if you notice, if you look back a couple of years ago, you actually saw people out on the streets working each and every day. Now you see no one. You see no one out there because it has come to a complete standstill. This council and mayor that we have now do not identify with that at all. That resolution that was signed by them years ago, I don't know where the money is. I'm not saying that they took the money. I can't say that, and I will not say that. But I want a forensic audit done throughout this city. Thank you.
In addition to capital improvement plans, we need maintenance plans, the basics. In order to maintain your city, you have to know where things are, you have to have inventories, and you have to know what streets have been repaired, when, and if you put together a schedule, you hit everything periodically in rotation, so that way not one part of the city gets more attention than the others. Currently, our relationships with our county, state, and federal officials has a lot to be desired. And in order to garner the attention and get special funding or one-time funds or any additional funds that may become available, you have to have a good relationship with your leaders. So that way, you're working with them on a regular basis, they know what your needs are, and they're willing to support you when you need additional funding for specific problems. Basically, that's it. You need to have great maintenance programs as well as capital improvement programs and great relationships with your local, state, and federal legislators to identify funding.
Thank you. Brother Clay, you got a question?
Yes, Mr. Vice President, I would like to refer back to the question that Mrs. Dodson had asked the panel. And I just want to ask her, did she get an understanding and did you get a fully understanding of what the question she asked?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
Thank you. And that's Darden, not Dodson.
I'm Ron Dowell at large. My question is for all of the panel to answer, but before I ask my question, I got to ask another question first of the people who are here. Raise your hands if you trust police and our deputies.
What?
Okay, I've seen enough. Let me finish. There are about 80 people here today.
I understand, but we've got to keep things in the context. Let's focus on the candidates. I'll provide a moment for your announcement.
No. This is my question. This is my question. If there are 80 people here today and 10 raise their hands, that's a very small percentage. What are you going to do to increase that percentage, the trust between the folks that live in the city and law enforcement? What are you going to do?
Now, anytime there is a lack of trust, there is a lack of communication. We need to improve the communication between whatever law enforcement agency the city of Compton and their people so desire and choose to elect or enforce. I'm sorry?
We chose the sheriff.
Okay, I'm just being neutral.
Thank you, because this messes up the time that you want them to give you an answer. If you're going to You're
I
going
just
to,
was trying to inform her because she's not.
Well,
Right,
I'm
but you
informed.
let-
Out of order.
Now, hold on. Can I, before
Okay,
you
we're
start my
out
time,
of order. Stop for a second.
I'm informed, but I said that to say because we have a ballot initiative that is going before the people to open up the options on whether or not we would like to have additional law enforcement services in the city of Compton. So that's why I say to remain neutral. So going back to increasing trust, we need more communication, and the most basic program that has been successful nationally called CompStat is called community policing. And you work with whatever your law enforcement agency is, you provide them with the tools and the resources to make sure that it's as simple as if you have a map on the board and you can map out what are your crime hotspots within your city. Now, whether it's in the city or whether it's in the sheriff's department, you map out where are those hotspots and you provide additional services to those areas. And then you also, you layer it. You have people that are already having neighborhood watch and neighborhood block clubs. So you make sure that those people have the empowerment, the empowered and the tools and the communication with their sheriff's department, and you have a phone. There's a whole system on how you do it, but basically we need community policing in the city of Compton that's at no cost and be able to better leverage the resources. Right now we have cameras installed at all of our parks. Oh, no, I can't hear you, I'm so sorry.
I know, they can't hear you.
Your voice is really low, I just couldn't hear you. Sorry. I'll answer more later if y'all have more questions.
I'll expound on what Ms. Brown said, communication. And if you don't communicate, then you can't hold anybody accountable. You have to be able to communicate what your expectation is and how you expect those things to be done and how you expect your citizens to be treated in order to hold them accountable as to what your expectations are. Everything is based on relationships, and if you are not communicating, you don't have any relationship, and people are less likely to respect you if you're not communicating with them. And quite frankly, they treat your family or your constituents however they'd like to because you are not holding them accountable. I don't support a monopoly on the sheriff's department, and it's not because I don't like or I don't trust the sheriff's department, but how do you negotiate fees? And how do you hold people accountable if you're saying you have the free will to do what you like?
That's a good point. I think that where we lost trust in the police is that whatever happened to Officer Friendly, whatever happened to the police that went to the schools, teaching the kids how to like the police. Secondly is that we paying our sheriff too much money right now. I understand it's our agency, but we have no control. We got to find out why does we have so many deputies coming here daily. In order for us to trust the sheriff, you got to be able to see the sheriff at least 4 or 5 times out of a week. Every day I see somebody new coming here, so it's kind of hard. We don't know where they came from, we don't know who they are. So, and we can't negotiate like Mr. Satcher said, we cannot negotiate the bills. I think the bills should be negotiated. I think that we're paying them too much money right now. So that's where I'm at on that. And that's one of the things that I when elected for treasurer, that I want to sit down and be on the audit team so we can find out we can reduce these bills, but we just got to have somebody speak up for the city.
Mr. Dowd, to answer your question, no, I do not trust the sheriff. And I'm going to tell you why. Citizens, so you can be aware. The sheriff department, when you become a deputy or whatever, you have to serve so much time in the jail. Well, it's been offered to the rookies that if you come and serve in Compton, your jail time is cut. So they're coming out here on these streets with no training. Not really street training anyway. They're coming out here to get out of the jail. When they first came, I'm going to tell you, I live in the 1st district. They thought the district existed, City of Compton existed from El Segundo and Wilmington to Rosecrans and Wilmington. We had so many officers when they first came, and so I had to go out and literally tell them, you got to go past Rosecrans, because we're a little larger than that. No, I do not trust the sheriff, and I want to tell you, in our charter, it addresses our city attorney as our legal law enforcement. This should be our voice, the citizen's voice, between the sheriff and us. There's too much, the communication is poor, but the communication is not even being addressed. Each one of us should not have to go before the sheriff and beg.
to treat us right. Thank you.
Okay, now, any questions? Okay, now listen, we're gonna go one more question. I'll do two more questions. But then we're going to have to stop that portion so that the candidates can do their 3 minutes. And if we go any further, I may have to cut that down to 2 minutes. Okay.
I'd like to ask one about public safety. We were appointed to the crime committee, all my crime committee people here, we work with the FBI, ATF, had to close the gun shop. Murder rate was almost 70-80, we reduced it down by 10-15, stopped the police brutality because the major will sue you if you keep on doing police brutality. We're a national civil rights group. I want to know, will everyone on that panel be able to work with major crime committees? We have reduced this crime rate down in Compton. And the number one thing, you got to know how to communicate with the sheriff. You can't be having this hate thing going on. So we communicate with the sheriff. If we have a street we want cleaned up, we work with the school police. We work with the block club. If you want to get something done, the sheriff, you got to communicate with them. You can't go hating them. That's all I got to say.
Right here. Hold on. That was a question.
Is that a question I said?
I want to know if you support the crime committee.
Right.
Yes, can we have just a yes or no, please?
I'm gonna be Mr. Esters?
Yeah.
Yes, I support NASIA, you know I was a member, but I don't support them in the form that you're in. A once-a-month meeting is not enough. It's not enough. If anything, my support would be for NASIA to meet at least weekly, if not twice a week. Because once a month is not enough.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm also a member of this.
Well, I was born and raised here, and I remember when the crime commission or committee was a thriving committee that did have some official capacity. And if you meet once a week or once a month, if you don't have any official capacity, then it's for naught. You're just an advisory committee. But
Well, you don't support the major.
Hey, no debate? You got your answer?
Okay.
Mrs. Holyfield?
Chambers of Commerce are very well known throughout America, and they help the small businesses. That's why in most cities, when you go there, you'll see the business, the front office, the street in front of them, beautiful flowers, nice signs. No business is up without a sign. We have many here without signs. And my question is, when you are elected, are you going to continue to support a Chamber of Commerce that is dependent upon the city to function? Or will you help in establishing an independent chamber?
That's a yes and response to the new establishment, or no and response to a new establishment.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I support working with them. I do not support subsidizing the chamber. I believe that we have a large enough business community that if they provide viable services, they can charge for membership based on, and they do charge membership based on the number of employees for each company. So I believe they have a greater opportunity to raise money in this community than any other nonprofit organization, business, or entity. So I support working with them. I'd love to work with them to help them develop programs and services to provide to businesses so they can charge for memberships.
Ms. Bowman?
Ms. Holyfield, I want to tell you, look at our city. Look at Compton Boulevard. You can count the businesses down there. I would support the chambers, but not only just support them by mouth. I would support the chambers in building up the business to where they will have something to offer the businesses to come into the city of Compton. We have to restore our city before we can ask somebody to come in. That's the same way with your home. You wouldn't invite anybody in your home if it was dirty. So you have to clean up this city in order to invite businesses in. And yes, I would support the chambers, Every city around has a chamber of commerce that is very active. Thank you.
Yes, I would support the Chamber of Commerce. And like I said earlier, that I would be in the Chamber of Commerce if I was elected. We would go out and meet every business owner in the city of Compton. And we would bring in something called Business Expo, so that we can bring other business in here, so that we can clean up the business that we do have here in Compton.
I believe that the city of Compton and every great city should have a chamber of commerce. Now, I do believe that since we live in a capitalistic society, that things should be open to free market, which means we should be able to bid out who is going to operate as the city of Compton's chamber. The city of Compton is so fortunate that 42% of our total tax base is anchored in the industrial sector, which means that the majority of Compton's tax revenues come from the industrial sector, which are AKA businesses. So there is no reason why the city of Compton should be supplementing or be the sole support of the Compton Chamber. We need somebody that's going to come in that's business-minded and that will take the Compton Chamber to a new level. If we want to go higher, we need to have a new face in the chamber. We need to have a new organization. We need to have new blood in the chamber. And if something's not working, we got to do something different. The cost of doing the same is too great. We need change. Thank you.
Okay, one last question, Mike.
Along with seeing the changes in the city, it is clear that this city is one of the most darkest cities at night. It is clear, crystal. What would you do to improve the lighting in this city if elected as mayor?
Okay, that's for 2 mayors.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Again, the lighting is a function of the outdated general plan. The general plan is the city's blueprint for the type of infrastructure improvements for health, for safety, for circulation, for all the bare minimum things that make a community viable and healthy. So the reason why our lighting is so dim is because the original lighting was made for a city that's half the size. The city of Compton is one of the oldest cities in Los Angeles County. It was founded in the 1850s. So the lighting is reflective of that. The lighting is not adequate to sustain 100,000 residents. It is not adequate to sustain the number of roads that we have. So we need to, number one, update our general plan, update our zoning ordinance, which is the actual physical document that will allow us to implement change in our lighting, in our streets, in our infrastructure, and everything else related to the city's infrastructure. So until we have those two documents together, we will be unable legally in order to be able to put in new lighting in the city of Compton. Now, the city of Compton did partner with Edison because some of the lighting is owned by Southern California Edison. So there are things we can do to make them brighter, but new lighting, we're going to have to go back to the basics. Thank you.
Okay, Lynn.
I'm going to take you back to a little history. We had 2 lighting projects here in the city. One was addressed in District 1, and they spent $5 million on lighting. They actually bought new poles. The poles were blue. In District 1, if you're familiar, on the other side of Central, we have every gang affiliation there is. So those blue poles were painted on, drawn on, and everything else, and they didn't provide lighting. They tried to address the lighting that's in Downey, down the street from Downey Landing. It wasn't going to work here. They spent $5 million on that. I actually met with some representatives from Edison. Our lighting is, our poles are perfect. There's nothing wrong with them. What we needed to do was to address a greater wattage, and that has come out in the last maybe 5 to 6 years. Once the city mayor decided to go that route, after throwing away $5 million, we have new lighting here in Compton. But the trees are so high now, so you can't see the lighting for the trees. Just last week, they had a resolution across the city council about trimming the trees. As $36 as opposed to $96, they want to cut the limbs that are out in the street as opposed to chopping off the trees, which would make the city brighter. Something's wrong. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let's give candidates a hand. So now, I did promise the candidates 3 minutes for a closing statement, but I'm going to have to decrease that to 2 minutes. So without further ado, I'm going to start with Secretary Sarita, 2 minutes for closing statement.
First, I'd just like to say I'm a coalition builder. I believe in building bridges to improve local government. And in order for the city to flourish from its $40 million plus deficit, new standards must be put in place. The city clerk's office is in desperate need of technological and system advancements that will improve government operations for citizens and businesses. I will restore the integrity necessary to operate the clerk's office independent of the mayor and council's office. My top issues are automation of the office in order to make government more convenient for citizens and to increase revenue. I would like to provide excellent customer service. I realize that as a public servant, I work for you. You don't work for me. And I would covet the city seal. I remember there was a measure where the citizens voted not to restore the Compton Police Department. However, $1 million was spent on the study. So I don't know how that was moved through the city system, but if citizens voted not to have an initiative, I wouldn't, as a clerk, I'd be unpopular like Mr. Davis was in some instances, where if he knew something wasn't right, he didn't support it and he alerted the citizens. So I'd be willing to do that. I expect at the end of my first term, I will have improved customer service and efficiency by developing the systems and technology that's needed to move the city of Compton into the 21st century. Citizens will be able to access and download information online, as well as I would love to work with the city treasurer's office, so that way citizens are able to pay their bills online and not be assessed a service fee. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope you judge me based on experience and performance rather than personality. Thank you.
My name is Nobody Smoking. I'm running for office of mayor. I have been involved in the city's business for many years. I was a city employee working in the Treasury Department, and I know the accounts and the financial issues here in the city. I was a city employee working in the CRA, the development of the city, which we haven't received development. I actually saw the spendings of $5 million, and I went out as a whistleblower. Those monies had to be replaced and sent back by the city of Compton. I have a platform, a budget reform, which I want to enforce, promote a forensic audit of the city of Compton, so everybody knows where we are, where we have been, and what we need to do to do the right thing. My next thing is public safety. I want to address the amount that we pay the sheriff to make sure that they're providing courteous, accurate service, and that they are addressing the city's needs as far as generating revenue by writing parking tickets, addressing violations here in the city. The other things I want to rebuild the infrastructure here in the city. Everybody keeps hearing about the potholes, but this is a nationwide problem. This is happening all over. But I want to tell you, citizens, this city was in the best shape possible for repairing our streets. But some kind of way, the monies were lost. And now it's back on the citizens again by the increase in your water bill. We have to generate more revenue and sit down and look at our expenditures. We need to reduce our expenditures. And the last thing is public awareness. You all here need to know what's going on in the city. This is your city. This city doesn't belong to the mayor and the council. This is your city, and the city has lost sight of that. Now, it's not that the officials that run for office, they're not serving you. They're looking for you to service them. And it's not right, and it needs to be changed. It needs to be put back on the citizens. This is your voice. This is your city. You pay the property taxes. Thank you.
All I want to say, I want to thank everybody that's coming out tonight. I'm also a member of Concerned Citizen, and I never saw it like this. So I want to thank y'all. Also, have a special thanks to my lovely wife over here who just showed up surprising me. Thank you. I told y'all that I'm going to bring 25 years of collection as well as preparing first and final counts throughout various cities in California. I have the vision to bring revenue to the city. I was also bringing leadership because the treasurer office can be a powerful force in improving the lives of Compton. That's why I'm running, because we need a new approach and new transparency. The waste must stop. You notice that the Treasury Department has been stagnated for the past 30 years. And I want to do, I know Mr. Sanders is here, and I want to thank you for the service that you have been doing, Mr. Sanders. 20 years? No, I said 20 years. And I just want to let you know that the comfort zone is over. Citizens, I just want y'all to know that you can't count on me to represent this great city. I will honor your opinion, and I will keep you focused on what is right for the city of Compton. And thank you. God bless everybody.
Concerned citizens of Compton, it has been an honor to come before you today. I think whoever put this forum together, I think it is an excellent opportunity to bring new ideas and to present what's really going on and the options that we have in the city of Compton. Compton can no longer afford to conduct business as usual. The city's finances are in peril, the city's revenues are diminishing, the workforce is receding. We citizens are shouldering $45 billion in debt created by this administration. Public safety is one of the hardest hit, receiving over $3 million in budget cuts to our Compton fire. Something must change. A decision must be made here today. Either we will continue supporting the election of the same leaders, which only guarantees the same results, or we will move forward in a new direction and elect new leaders with the wherewithal to actually chart a new course that has experience, education, and the ability to not polarize people, but bring people together. We must transform Compton's image in order to overcome its negative perception, its poor reputation. We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the city of Compton. We need to do something different. When unemployment is high, family units break down. When family units break down, educational attainment plummets. When educational attainment plummets, upwardly mobile individuals move out and refuse to move in. When vacancy rates are high, property values are low. When property values are low, property taxes recede. When property taxes recede, city revenues and services decrease. When revenues and services decrease, infrastructure upkeep and employee wages diminishes. When infrastructure upkeep diminishes, crime increases and income flees. When media and per capita income go down, businesses relocate and refuse to move in. When businesses refuse to move into the city of Compton, the residents of the city of Compton suffer. Compton has a rich history and still holds the potential to be a great city. I am a second-generation Compton resident, and I am proud to serve my community. Our economy is anchored by a strong industrial tax base. We have our own airport, golf course, municipal water district. We have a strong transportation system, natural resources, and essential locations second to none. It is time that we elect a new leader that has the wherewithal to chart a new course and to move forward, and I thank you for your opportunity to be before you today. Thank you.
Now, in the words of Ms. Hollis, who is the president of the Concerned Citizens of Compton, where else can you go?
Mr. Vice President, I talked to Ms. Hollis last night. We talked about welfare. She meant her love for the organization. Thank you. She was very happy with what Captain Walker said about it. And hopefully she'll be back on the 15th of March.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we're going to move into the last session, which is for some announcements. And then I'm going to see if I can get us out here at 7 o'clock. You know, we meet from 5 to 7. I always try to meet that deadline. So the announcements. Ms. Dawson, you have an announcement. Ms. Darden. And I should know that. I'm going to explain later.
Good evening again. I'm Lily Darden. I am Lily Darden Dotson. And Lily and I have often got confused with each other, so we call ourselves sisters. So it's okay, whatever you call me. I still come late for dinner. Okay, this is an important department announcement, and we pass the flyers around. There will be the candidates forum on March 16th, 23rd, and 30th. It will be held in the city council chambers. They will all be at 12 noon. On the 16th, it will be District 2 and 3 candidates. On the 23rd, it will be city clerk, city treasurer, and city attorney. And on the 30th will be the mayor's candidate forum. So if you have concerns, please contact the persons that are listed at the bottom, to give them questions that you would like asked at these different forums. And we appreciate your assistance.
And just to piggyback on that, our next meeting is March the 16th. That's Saturday after next. On March the 16th, we will have Omar Bradley for mayor. We will have Diana Sanchez for the 3rd District. We will have City Attorney, Mr. Cornwell, and also scheduled is Alita Godwin for City Clerk.